Hi everybody. Today we are going to talk about data science project lifecycle. Ever wondered how a data science or deep learning project looks like in an industrial environment? In this article, I will present you the typical life cycle of such a project. This life cycle contains 6 different steps, which are goal setting, data exploration, data pre-processing, model prototyping, model evaluation, and deployment to production. The work of deep learning engineer is very similar to work of software developer. At first glance, it is not that obvious. The product of software developer is the code, while the product of deep learning engineer are the insights they get from the data. The roadmap changes with every new dataset and new problem, but in general, every data science or deep learning project you will encounter in your career will follow more or less the life cycle template we are going to discuss in this article. Is defining objective. Every data science project starts with an objective. When solving a specific data science problem, the first question you will encounter is always what is actually the problem you are trying to solve. Data science projects are well suited for accurate goal setting because we evaluate the results of the model with a performance metric and can see if the necessary performance is achieved. According to Microsoft Azure's blog, we typically use data science to answer 5 types of questions. How much or how many? Which category? Which group? Is this weird? Which option should be taken? So next step is data exploration. Data exploration is usually the second step in the data science project. When training a model, you must always keep in mind that the quality of the training data determines the quality of the model. The data you will encounter in practice will be not clean in most cases. This means that data will contain non-uniform data formats, missing values, outliers, and feature with very different ranges. In short, the data would not be ready to be used as training data for your model. For this reason, the data must be pre-processed in various ways. But before we can do it, we must first identify the issues I just mentioned. This is where the phase of data exploration come into place. During the data exploration phase, you want to visualize your data in various ways and perform basic statistics on it. For example, one dimension scatter plot can be used to visualize the features from the data set. The scatter plot gives us a very simple visual overview of the value within a feature. We can do more statistical approach to data visualization by using box plots. By means box plot, we gain knowledge about some statistical properties of the data. The visualize such as median values, quartile ranges, outliers, etc. Another advanced way to visualize the data is by using histogram. As in the case of 1D scatter plot, we obtain a good overview of range of the given data as well as potential outliers. In addition to it, this kind of visualization provides us with an accurate presentation of the distribution of the given feature values. The next step is data pre-processing. Any problem in your data set that you have discovered in the data exploration phase can be dealt with the pre-processing phase. Here you take care of missing values, different feature ranges, different data formats, and perform the necessary data transformation. Shortly speaking, in this step, you make your data ready for the training. Different data types require different pre-processing methods. Take numeric data as an example. Numeric data represents data in the form of scalar values. These scalar values have a continuous range. This means there is an infinite amount of possible values. Integers and floating points are the most commonly used numeric data types. Although numeric data can be fed directly into machine learning models, the data may require some pre-processing steps. For example, if the range of input features are very different feature ranges will cause problem during the training. To prevent this problem, we must scale and standardize the ranges of these features. For this, we can use several different feature scaling methods. We'll make another video for this feature scaling methods. Categorical string data. Another data type that requires pre-processing is categorical data. Categorical data is the data that generally takes a limited number of possible values such as age, gender, country, and so on. Usually you encounter categorical data as a string data type in your data set. Some example would be country, age, gender, job. Take a feature country as an example. This feature could contain string values like different countries like India, USA, France, Japan, Germany, like etc. Of course, traditional machine learning model cannot work with string data directly, and you need to make some changes and transformations of the data before you use machine learning model on it. In the case of string data, we must perform the so-called encoding of the data. Encoding basically means that the string data gets transformed into a numerical data type such as integer or floating point numbers. For example, India will get assigned to 1, USA assigned to 2, France assigned to 3, something like that. Although the string data just became numeric, that could be used by a model, the data still remain categorical. Categorical data may cause problem during training because the model could interpret the value of France, which has categorical value 3, as more important during the training process as categorical value of 1 of India. By using these categorical values, we would introduce a bias into the learning process, which could disturb the machine learning model. At the end of the days, we must let the model decide for themselves if and what extent a particular data sample is important or not. The issue of introducing a bias can be solved by performing the so-called one-hot encoding of the data. One-hot encoding would vectorize these values so that each sample would have the same importance in the eye of ML model during training. Basically, this would happen like this. India should get assigned to 100, USA 010, France 00, something like that. You see, so it will get vectorized. The next step is model prototyping. After data processing, the main part of your project begins where you prototype, implement, and train your model. In this phase, you will experiment a lot with your neural network or machine learning model. This involves trying out many different model architecture, experiment with the number of layers, number of neurons, values of hyperparameters, training times, etc. Next step is model evaluation. After you have implemented your model, you can start to deal with the questions of whether the goal of your project is achieved. In other words, you check if your model fulfills the necessary predefined performance. The evaluation metrics that will be choose to measure the performance of your model will differ from project to project and will depend on what exactly you want to achieve. There is a reason why you have to be specifically clear about your goal. As clear as your goal is, as clear as you must define the matrix that measure the performances. Some evaluation metrics that can be used to measure the performances are accuracy, precision, recall, F1 score, AUC score, RMSE, etc. Be careful, some evaluation metrics might suggest your model performs very well, while other may result in bad performance. For example, in the case of very imbalanced data set where one class represents 99% of data and other class represents only 1% of data, the accuracy would be wrong metric to evaluate the performances. If you have found a suitable neural network model with satisfactory performance that can handle problem you are dealing with, you can proceed with the development step. If you have found a suitable model with a satisfactory performance that can handle problem you are dealing with, you can proceed with the deployment step. Deployment means always model deployment means that you are going to prepare your model for usage in real life. Up until this point, the model was executed locally. In the deployment phase, you will make your model available to the whole world. For example, the ML model could be used as a microservice that is running on a web cloud that can be accessed from around the globe and can be scaled easily to handle 100 or 10,000 of simultaneous requests. For this, the trained model must be exported in a suitable format. For example, in the case of ML model written in Python, the format is called a saved model instance. The format is called a saved model instances. It is common good practice in the industry to use Docker and Kubernetes as a main tools to deploy a model. Docker would serve as a containerization engine that packs the model together with all necessary libraries and ship it to one package in an isolated container. With Kubernetes, the Docker container where the model is running can be easily managed, scaled and deployed to web cloud such as Amazon Web Services. With this last step, the life cycle of data science projects completes. Thank you.